everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. I am sitting here in the pod cabin with your husband and mine, Daniel Quantz. Hello.
Hi there.
How goes it?
It's going well.
I feel like I have barely had a chance to check in with you over the last many days, and we could have had a pre-production meeting. I know you like to pre-produce.
We did that once.
We did it once.
And barely at that.
I resented it. But
it's fine with me. I can live with that.
I figure let's just catch up on the show.
Okay.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well, actually. I mean, busy week. I don't know, rough week, I would say. A lot of childcare. My life is full of childcare.
We have some demanding children.
Yeah, we do. And it's hard working from home because there is very little of an understanding from those children that I'm not like available.
Right.
One of the things our kids do, one kid in particular, is he'll get in his head, he kind of like his dad does, like a project that he wants, and then he can't move on with his life until that project is
he can't move on with from his seat until that. Yeah.
But here's the problem: his projects always are things I have to do.
Yeah, and also it's not like, Dad, get me the Legos. It's build me a vending machine.
We were at the school did a science night last night, and they had all these different things set up, and one of them was the kids had to make a boat out of aluminum foil, these little sheets of aluminum foil, and then you put them in the water and see how many pennies it can hold, So
Elliot was he told me he felt ashamed this morning, and I was like,
oh, he did?
Yeah, tell me your story. I wasn't there because I was down in Orange County, and that's a separate story which we'll get to, but tell me what happened, and then I'll tell you what Elliot told me.
Well, Owen wasn't interested in making a boat that could hold pennies. He handed me and again, it's probably like a 4x5, maybe, ish sheet of aluminum foil. He's like, make me a space station. Daddy, make me a space station. And now I am a creative person.
The problem is you rise to every single challenge.
But this was one where I was like, often these challenges, though, are like, you don't understand how much work that is.
Right.
Like, could I make a space station out of aluminum foil?
Yes.
Probably. Could I do it with a small piece of aluminum foil in the next 10 minutes? No. He doesn't understand that. One night.
So what happened? Did he have a meltdown?
I carefully explained to him what was going on here, and that it was more, and then I diverted him over to the challenge of making a boat that could hold pennies. I don't think he quite understood.
Right.
I navigated my way out of that, but often I can't. And, you try to say no, and you end up at some sort of like compromise where it's like, okay, I don't have to do it right now, but I have to do it later. But like the other day, I pick him up from school, and I've got work to do. Okay. And you were busy doing whatever. I think you had a doctor's appointment or something. And it was immediately like, Daddy, I want to make a 2D Minecraft figure 3D. And it was just like, what?
Yeah, I don't even understand.
It always starts with what?
Mm-hmm.
Last week, first of all, people are like, I don't give my kid iPads until 1 hour a week. No screens for us. It's all we churn our own butter.
Yeah.
And we're sort of the opposite. It's just like whatever.
We have butter 1 hour a week, and the rest of the time we're on iPads.
And
we're too laissez-faire, but
they do spend probably too much time. However, the thing, and I know this is justification, but I don't see the iPad as in the same way that I see television. Like television, if they were just parked in front of the TV, I'd be like, I get the move your body part. I get the like get fresh air part. That is important. But like the iPad is a tool as much as it is something to watch. Like, yes, there's some watching YouTube, but there's also
It's very interactive and educational.
I mean, Owen knows more about the solar system than probably anyone else you know,
Right.
and he learned it all on YouTube.
Right.
But also, he is pretty proficient at Procreate, which is a professional grade fucking illustration tool. Anyway, he drew this bird, and it's so good. And he wanted me to print it out. He wanted me to print it and these seeds. So it was like a bird and then 2 seeds. And he was like, I want you to print this out, and so that there's a magnet behind the mouth, and the seeds will stick to the magnet.
He had been talking about this toy that he wants to make where there's a magnet in the mouth for a while. And I was thinking, how are we going to make
So I happen to have this thick, like,
foam board?
foam core board. And so I printed out his bird, and then I cut around so it was like the right shape. And then I bored out a little hole behind it and glued in a magnet that I had. And then I put some metal. I printed out the seeds. I put little metal pieces on behind the seeds and glued those so that it would just stick to the thing. And he brought it to school. He was so pleased. So it's like there's this part of me that's happy to be able to do that for him.
This is the problem, is that he's like the perfect son for you,
Except
that you can execute his ideas, and he gets this from you.
Yes, except when it's a Wednesday afternoon.
Right.
And he's demanding it, and I have work demanding things of me. And then Elliot comes home, and he has a project that he needs to prepare for, and he's being difficult. And it just feels like sometimes it's just like too fucking much, man. It's just like I can't manage all of this, all at the same time. Much less anything that would be like personal. Forget that shit. That just
you
never.
haven't showered in 6 weeks.
The best I can do, and I'm grateful, is I can exercise. I've been able to exercise, but like any like creative work or anything like that is just fucking. It's just too hard these days. But I'm hopeful things will.
I would like to know from other dads, are you relating to this? Is it like this for you too? Or other moms? Other parents?
I think for
what?
I think for most people, when the kid gets to a certain age, they're not quite as demanding.
Probably. But kids are pretty demanding for a long time. So anyway, this penny thing, Elliot told me that the most a kid was able to hold in a boat was like 453 or 143 or some high number, but he only held 43. I don't know. I feel like 4 and 3 are in my mind, and his only held, however many, and he felt ashamed. And then I rushed in just without even thinking. It was early, and I'm like, oh, you shouldn't feel ashamed. And he's like, why? And I realized I don't know that he associates shame and ashamed. I don't know that he meant it the way that I react to it. But were you aware of this?
I didn't know that he felt bad about it. I mean, like, he didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
So, like, yeah, he didn't hold a lot of pennies, but he doesn't really know anything about boats. He just kind of like bent some corners and put it in the water. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't.
Was there some kind of nautical expert in there among the children?
Well, they were older kids. I mean, 5th graders.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kids that he's in 2nd grade. He doesn't really know about that kind of stuff. Elliot is the poster child for not Myers-Briggs, Dunning-Kruger.
He doesn't know how dumb he is?
He doesn't know what he doesn't know. He thinks Elliot really does consider himself to be an expert in all things, which is frustrating for a 2nd grader.
Right.
Because he doesn't really know a lot of things.
But I don't. If Dunning-Kruger, you wouldn't have humility like he does. Like, you wouldn't feel ashamed. I don't think. I understand what you're saying.
No, he was ashamed that he didn't have the numbers. He wasn't ashamed that he didn't know. He expects himself to. He doesn't know
that he doesn't know
that he doesn't know how to build a boat.
Right.
He doesn't know how to. Why would he be expected to get a higher number than that? He doesn't know anything about boats.
Right. All of youth is really Dunning-Kruger, I think, because I thought I had it so figured out when I graduated college.
I mean, I think a lot about it because Elliot is just it's just so extreme with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's always telling me like, I know, when it's like he doesn't know. But and I'm like, how do I like get him to sort of at least understand enough to listen? You know, because all you want him to do is listen.
This is like every song in a musical sung by a dad.
And I'm at a loss. So if anybody has any idea.
Yeah.
Because he had this presentation and I was trying to, this is another fucking thing. Okay. He had this presentation where he had to like,
You're having a quants down?
Yeah. He had to pick a person who was like his hero.
Mm-hmm.
And then
From a list.
And then he had to, it was from a list? He couldn't just choose anybody?
You could go off list, but he chose like the first name on the list, which was Walt Disney.
Yeah, and then you asked him like, "Why is he your hero?" He's like, "I don't know. It just seemed easy." Like it wasn't.
Oh, I don't remember him
or
saying
someone
that, but
did.
yeah, he didn't really think a lot about it.
He didn't think much about it. And this project, he didn't seem to be taking it too seriously.
Right. That being said, he's a really good student who got like a perfect report card last semester, and I don't mean perfect marks, even though they were really good. I mean, the note that the teacher wrote was like, "Oh my god!" Like everyone.
But for some reason, he just wasn't taking this project seriously at all. Like if we hadn't pressed it, I don't know that he would even have had a presentation, to be honest.
I think he would have. They've been working on it for weeks in school.
But he had nothing.
Okay.
I mean,
the point of the project was to do an oral presentation in class, and it was graded on 5 different things.
Yeah, I'm not interested in getting into the details of it. I'm just saying, like he had to. Well, you want to. Okay, what are the 5 things, Alison?
Lip sync, originality.
So, flair.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to help him, but he was just like not wanting my help. And I kept trying because there's this thing too where they'll give these assignments, and I'm like,
yes,
and I'm like, how much is the parent supposed to help here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I could help him and it could be amazing, but I don't think I should. That would be me doing it,
right?
But also it's presented in such a way that the kid can't really do it without our help. So it seems to be needing our help. And I can imagine kids coming in.
This one literally said, hopefully this is a fun project for you to work on with your child or something.
That was the other part of it where you printed out, like you cut some stuff out with card. Was that the whole project?
I think so.
Oh, I would have helped him more then.
Oh.
I didn't realize the presentation was part of it.
I can't remember. I think so.
Oh, shit. Well,
it was fine. His presentation was fine.
It could have been better. Because I was just like, because he picked Walt Disney, and the only thing he knows about Walt Disney is like Disneyland and animated movies. I mean, he's not a fan of Walt Disney. This isn't like some personal hero. And so part of the presentation was like creativity. You know, like you can dress up, and it said like you could dress in costume. You had to get up there as though you were the person,
right? And
do like an I am kind of presentation, and and so I was like, oh well, it's Walt Disney. So I was like trying to lead him because he was like, I don't know what to do. He was like so frustrated and like getting upset because he just didn't know. 5, you had to have 5 facts, and that's literally his entire presentation was just saying 5 things, and then that was it.
But he dropped one of them. Did you know that he dropped the train part? Because there was a train named like the Lily Bell or Lulabelle named after as Walt Disney, he would have to say like, I'm obsessed with trains. I have a train named after my wife or something. And he thought it'd just be weird and cringe to say he had a wife. And then also, Walt Disney wanted to name Mickey Mouse Mortimer Mouse, but his wife thought that was too pompous and suggested Mickey Mouse. He also did not deliver that fact because he just didn't want to say he had a wife.
Those are great facts.
I know. And I was like thinking like, what if you say like the woman I am married to? No, it's so funny. To me, that's so second grade.
Certain things are uncomfortable to him. It's just funny. Well, anyway, so I was like, well, because I was thinking like, well, what could he present? He doesn't want to do costume, and Walt Disney costume would just be boring anyway, like a little mustache or something. But he, animation. So why not do like a flip book and show like what animation is? Because he was early animation, he's Steamboat Willie. And he was like, and then I was like, well, this is how you could do it. I know how to do it. And so I was like, okay. Yeah, he's like, he was like, no, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay. It's your grade. Like, if you're going to be difficult about everything, if you're going to be yelling at me, then no, we had a babysitter that afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, then good luck. I didn't push past it because I was like, I don't know how to get him to understand that, or get to that place where it's like he's open to help,
right,
without him suffering a little bit of the consequences of understanding that he needs the help.
Yeah, but I'm sure you know this, but I think this is developmentally appropriate. Like, his whole thing is he's individuating.
Well, no, I get that, but it's like, how do you
he doesn't want to listen to like, Dad.
Well, yeah. So I let the babysitter help him with the flip book, and it was a disaster. I mean, God bless her. She did a good job. But the problem is that it wasn't cut in a way that made it easily flippable, and so that when he went to flip it again, not her fault. She was amazing. She was great, but it's like it didn't flip, and so it didn't work.
I was able to flip it.
For some reason, he couldn't. I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh, this is neat," but this isn't how I would have done it.
Yeah.
And if he would have let me help him, it would have been better. But I didn't want. But then I thought, but he did do that flip book himself, and that's the point.
Yeah.
The kids should be doing the work, not the dad. Like, of course, I could do a better flip book. I'm 51 years old.
Yeah. And you're like a professional artist.
And I'm basically a world-renowned... I'm like...
You're
basically...
like in between Rembrandt and Renoir.
I'm like if you took Walt Disney and Picasso and then combined their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
then...
get a mouse with fucked up eyes.
No, but I mean, like, I obviously... whatever. It's just, but it's like hard because it's like I want him to succeed and blow everyone away. I want him to get up there and just be like, everyone go, oh my God. Like the teacher run to the principal, like, get the head of education on the phone. And we've got that rare superstar in our midst. You know?
Then wouldn't it be like that wrestler's wife that gets on the phone? Isn't she the head of education now?
That's right. I want him to go into wrestling.
What's her name?
Linda McMahon.
Yeah, isn't she head of education?
For now, until the Department of Education goes bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
So she's temporary acting. Anyway, yeah, get Linda on the phone.
Anyway, that was a long, boring story, but that's what I'm dealing with.
But it's what's on your mind.
What's on your mind, sweetheart? You've been busy.
Well, my whole thing was that I'm juggling a lot of stuff.
You are.
And I feel like every last thing is like the straw that's going to break that, which, by the way, I refuse to believe that straws could ever actually break a camel's back.
The point is, it's the final straw.
I know, but let's just explore this for a moment.
It's not a straw breaks his back.
No, the straw that breaks the camel's back. I just don't think it would be possible, unless you're doing metal straws. I don't think it would be possible to load that many straws onto a camel's back that ultimately the weight of the straws could break the camel's back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like there could be enough straws? I think the idea is it's like a huge bindle of straws.
Are these drinking straws? Because that's how I envision it.
No, straw like hay.
That's all of a sudden what I realized. So
wait, you thought? Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
I did.
You thought
the entire time,
my whole life.
Yep, my whole life.
The straw that broke the camel's back was like a McDonald's drinking straw.
Well, it wasn't branded and it wasn't wrapped up, but we're just lining up drinking straws on the camel's back. I guess straw itself, like hay, is heavy.
Right. Yeah.
It's the straw.
It goes back to when people would load straw onto animals to carry the bindles of straw or whatever.
Of hay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes way more sense. But you can imagine if you're me and you're thinking drinking straws,
sure.
yeah, really, no way. There's no way to get enough weight onto the camel's back of drinking straws.
And who is getting their delivery of straws via Camel?
I don't know. It does from top to bottom. It has made no sense to me.
Just one of those weird things.
But the
say.
straw that breaks the camel's back, don't you think it should be like the piece of straw? It's the piece of straw.
The straw.
Right. I understand, but one individual piece of straw is not called a straw.
What is it called?
A piece of straw.
Or it's just a straw. It's just a straw. Straw.
Bring me a straw. Oh my God, it's lost all meaning. But no, I think a piece
you
of
could say
straw
a straw. You wouldn't normally say it, but it's the straw. Like if you had different things on the table. You had a watch.
Sure.
You had one strand of straw.
A strand, yeah.
And, well, I'm just trying to. You had a shoelace and a can of Coke, and you said, "Bring me the straw."
I would say we're missing a drinking straw. But also, you know what? It's the straw that broke the camel's back. Is the other stuff on the camel's back straw, or could it actually?
Yes, the idea is that
it's all of one. Yes,
it's that like one straw is not going to break a camel's back, but like let's say 10,000 straws. The pieces of straw would, but at some point in there, there's somewhere in there,
is the
there's
tipping
a point at which that one is enough.
I mean, I feel bad for the camel anyway. I totally get what you're saying. I feel bad for the camel. I feel like they're being really inarticulate with their language because are people placing strands of straw? No, it's like,
it's a thing people say. It's not like a thing people did.
Well, I would fucking hope not.
It's not like, hey, let's go break a camel's back today with straw.
I would hope not.
And then, kids before TV used to go break
Right. It's
camel
like cow
backs.
tipping. I don't like it at all. So anyway, what I was going to say was that is the precarious situation I find myself in a little bit. However, I feel like you just gave your speech about that. So now if I give my speech about that, that's all.
But yours is different. So let's hear about it.
It's the same sentiment, but it just has different items.
All right, sure.
There's different items on my back.
Which are what?
It's all estate stuff. It's financial stuff. It's like I am intimately charting the volatility of the market because some of my parents' assets were in stock.
Which is absolutely maddening because when we checked in January, it was like, okay, you get a number in your head. And you're like, okay, this is good.
Right.
But you can't just cash out then. There's a whole process. Well, and by the time you get to the point where you're cashing out, Trump has fucking tanked the world economy.
Well, no, this is what happened. In between, because you can't just call and say, hi, my mom's dead. Can you please
send me her? Which is a good thing. You don't want people to just
send me her money.
Like...
Right. You have to send a number of documents to prove that you have the authority to do this, and then you have to send tax stuff, and then you have to send this and
death certificates,
and then and also you have to get things notarized, or you have to get something that I thought, because like a lot of times you're calling a number to deal with an estate service, and it's someone in another country who's answering. It's like they've farmed out this. You know what though? The tariffs are going to bring this
tariff
back.
That shit. Bring that fucking call.
So you're talking to someone who's like, you can tell is reading from a script. And she was like, you have to get a medallion signature. And
what does that mean?
Well, I thought, this is some Dunning-Kruger shit. I thought you must mean notary. Like this must be like how in England they call it the boot of the car, like medallion signature. But anyway.
So you thought it, because you were talking to someone in India or whatever, that they called it something different.
Yes. But I found out, as soon as I got off the phone and I looked it up, I found out, no, a medallion signature is a thing. It's a medallion signature stamp. It's essentially the same as getting something notarized, but it's only offered by financial institutions or credit unions. And there's not that many that give it. I was able to find it at the downtown Burbank branch.
Is it like just more secure than a notary?
No, it's the same. All they read they read your document, and if they take issue with the way you filled it out, then they have a problem with it. But then they verify your identity and they stamp it. So so I have to do it. But anyway, in between. So the question is, do we want to re-register the account under a new name or just redeem the funds? And because my whole life is paperwork, I'm like, I'm going to redeem the funds and save myself this extra application, because ultimately we're redeeming, meaning we're cashing out anyway.
It is the stocks.
Yeah. There's one account, or there's Charles Schwab. What is that called? What is that considered? A financial institution?
Yeah.
So there's
Like
a
savings
larger,
account?
no, there's a larger account there that has a larger amount of money, and then there's a smaller account at a different place. So I'm dealing with the smaller account now. The larger one,
you're dealing with the savings account, not
nope. These are both stonks.
Oh, they're both stonks?
Yeah. Oh, yes, we're saying stonks on purpose in case someone's gonna be like, you pronounced it wrong.
Yeah, we're pronouncing it correctly.
No, I've already dealt with all the accounts.
Okay, all right.
Which has
so you're
been a
dealing with,
colossal
that's also been a
clusterfuck and so much work. So no, the larger account I did change to the name of the new trust, blah, blah, blah. The smaller account, which is still not tiny, I'm like, choice between cashing out or changing or re-registering. Re-registering is a pain in the ass. I'm just going to cash it out because we have to cash out anyway. That's where we're headed. In between when I sent the paperwork to cash out and now, everything crashed. When I requested that we cash out, it was still fine. So then I had to get on the phone and be like, oh, hey, by the way, please don't do that.
Don't do it. No.
And then they're like, oh, well, we haven't received your paperwork yet. So now I'm like trying to make sure I time it in between.
There was like one day when you could have done, although it's come back up to that point, but it's still
it has
lower.
Not. No, it has not.
Yours hasn't? Because the market itself, I think, is like...
No.
Well, the market went down and then it went up, but not all the way. And then it went down again. And now it's kind of up to where it was, but not as high as it originally was.
Well, we're still down.
We're up for the week, but we're down for the month. Does that make sense?
Everything's down from when my mom died.
Well, yeah. Well, so the market has been steadily declining since January.
Right.
And everyone thought that was just like the market.
There was
finding...
one day in March where it bounced back up, and I should have cashed out everything then, but I didn't.
Was this after tariffs? No,
before.
Yeah,
there was one day in March where it boot, and I was like, oh, we're back up.
Yeah. So, but for the most part,
right?
It's been like because they thought that
anyway. I'm like I don't know what a hedge fund is, but I am like a professional hedge fund hedge manager. Daniel is mad because I interrupted him. Go ahead.
Well, I was just wanting to finish what I was saying, which is that it was steadily declining and everyone thought it was going to find a proper level, but instead he did the tariffs, and so it went way down because of that, and then rebounded sort of, and that's where we're at. It went down again, but it went back up to where it rebounded sort of. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at.
Yes, right. Still down overall. So
yeah, but because you said it wasn't the case. You said that. What I just said, you said no.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm telling you what happened. It doesn't matter. It's boring. Everyone out there knows.
Listen to me.
What?
I think you're wrong in this situation, because for this particular portfolio, it went back up to where it had been for one day
in March.
Yes,
but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about post tariffs. I'm talking about in the last week.
Yeah, it has never gone back to where it was.
I know. I'm not saying it did.
I know. Okay, we are on the same page then.
I'm saying it's back up from where it was when it crashed.
Yes.
Several days ago. So we're not like at that low. But we're still down.
We're still low. This particular portfolio is still pretty low.
Right. Good Lord.
Who cares?
Good God.
I did not go to college to manage funds.
I avoided finance and business in college.
I don't enjoy this shit. I feel like I'm day trading. Like I am too. And in addition to that, I am also dealing with auction houses and like 2 different auction houses, and all of it involves having to go to Orange County, and then we're trying to plan the funeral again, and that is just there's too many cooks, even though there's only 2 cooks.
Too many cooks.
Oh no. And I don't want to have to deal with any of it. I'm also now I am just complaining, and it sounds like when you were complaining.
Yes, but you complain in a more annoying way, which makes me sound more masculine. So go ahead.
It's just a lot. It's just I just feel like there's just not a lot of joy happening in my life right now. It's just a lot of.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot of busy work.
Sad.
A lot of miserable busy work.
And we found some love letters between my mom and my dad yesterday. Not really.
Oh.
I mean, his side was all, and her side was like, gross, Mom.
Well, you'll have to tell me more later.
No, I can tell you on air.
Where were they?
She's dead.
Because I feel like I've been through every single square inch of that
Did you
house.
see a package that said letters from Shelley in
Where?
my dad's stuff? I think you did, because it was in the box that's John Desk Miscellaneous.
Yeah.
I think it was in there.
Oh, I didn't go through the miscellaneous stuff.
Yeah, it was in the miscellany.
Oh, okay.
So there was...
Were they horrendous?
Well, look, we're people who don't want to acknowledge that my mom and dad ever had sex, even though finding a couple of vibrators suggests that some of these people are getting it on either with themselves or each other. But yeah, so one of them is a fucking note my mom wrote to my dad while she was in class. So there's also the element of
Her being young.
she was so young. There's like a letter from him, a card from him to her on her 21st birthday.
Oh my God.
So there was an obscene doodle on the note she wrote in class.
No.
Yes.
This is like early text sexting was just like obscene doodles.
I don't know. She was, so let me back up.
Do the doodle for me.
I've never even doodled this doodle.
No. No. Your mom drew that.
I know. There was hair too. I think so.
Hairy balls.
I don't know. It was such a juvenile.
Well, you got to remember that what year would that have been?
69.
I feel like in between 68 and 79,
Everyone was doodling dicks.
everyone was just fucking everyone and doing coke, and it was just like all the rules were out the window.
I guess. So on the one hand, it's sweet to read their letters and stuff and to be like, oh, this is like the beginning of their romance. There was a lot of letters going back and forth, and my mom was in Europe for part of it. So my dad was sending her a lot of letters there, and then she was writing back. And I also know that she once, and then here's a sad part. She once said that she felt like he really like wooed her and like campaigned for her. And then once they were married, he's like, okay, great. I don't have to do that anymore.
That was a lot of work.
And that made me feel sorry for her.
Because she was thinking she was signing up for a life of being wooed.
He called her Princess Shelley.
Well, she kind of was.
How so?
Her upbringing with her parents and she was a debutante.
Was princessuous?
It was princessual.
Do we just make the same joke?
Yeah. No, but like honestly, like her folks were sort of high society San Francisco.
Yeah.
And
Or they want to be.
all the pictures of her, I mean, they are like, she was in the, most fashionable outfits.
Yes, she was like their little doll. They dressed her. This part is
she
sad.
was presented to society, as a debutante.
Her mom bleached all her body hair from the time she was like 4 or 5.
Her mom was like a model, right?
Had been
a model
at one point.
She was like, it was a bit of a princessuosity.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It was princessish. It was definitely like not completely.
It was princess.
And I can see from the point of view of, your dad, and that would seem so.
Well, no, but he called her princess. But I feel like it was like their thing, because like she in one of her letters she's like, I love being your princess so much, and like, ugh.
Oh, do you think it was like role play?
Oh God, no. I hope not. But I'm just saying, I think that he treated her like she was a princess. There's clearly all this effort put in to like send her notes and let her know how much he misses her. And he wrote all these like poems to her, and the poems are silly though.
Right. Are they limericks?
No, but it's like something is something. Corned beef is Jewish. If I weren't here, I'd be in St. Louis or something. I guess that's not a limerick, but
That's not a limerick, but it's funny.
It's my dad being funny and charming. Like his letters are funny.
Your dad was funny and charming.
So his letters are funny and charming, and then I think that they got married, and then real life hit really fast. He had 2 kids from his previous marriage, and suddenly she's like a mom, and then here come these 2 girls, my sister and me, and now we're the princesses as far as my dad's concerned, and she isn't anymore.
You're talking about the tragedy of Shelley right now?
Well, as far as she saw it, yeah.
Right.
I mean, look, I have issues with that being her narrative, and I don't know how much she ever articulated that.
Well, I'm not asking you to judge the narrative. I'm just saying that's what she thought.
I don't think she felt cherished and honored and like valued by him the same way.
We all should be cherished and honored and valued.
He laid it on thick when they were dating, and then I don't think she felt that level continued once they got married.
And they probably didn't have the kind of communication where.
And I don't think they had any.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's doodling in class. She said that she started doodling in class, and then she started writing his initials, and then she decided to turn it into a love letter. Like, I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. But then there's an ejaculating penis on the front. And on the back, it's like the end. Now, I don't know.
She was in college at this point.
Yes.
She was at UC Berkeley.
Yes, doodling.
you know, Berkeley.
Yes, it was a note she wrote in class, college, where she majored in history. Here's the thing. And excuse this combination of terms. It looks so much like a child wrote it that, like, is it possible someone else doodled a penis on her? Like,
she farmed it out to like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, like or was she trying to do a kid writing this? I don't know.
I'm sure that was just her handwriting, right?
No, it's not that. It's the end on the other. I don't know her as someone who I never saw my mother doodle a penis before.
The idea of putting end at the end of a letter.
The end on the other side.
She put the end.
Yeah, and it's like it looks like this.
That might have been a little quirky thing that she liked to do at the end of all. See, I kind of think that's fun.
You know that card, the best friend club that you.
So hold on, you just wrote the end and cute little script and then a box around it.
Yes, that's what it was like on one side.
Stamp, like it's a.
Yes, that was on one side. The penis was on the other side. And you opened up, and inside is the note that she wrote in class, college class.
Oh, so it was like a Hallmark card where the front is a penis ejaculating,
yeah.
And then a nice note, and then the end.
Yes,
as though it was
that
like
is correct.
The end is almost like the company like logo,
like shoebox greetings.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like the end,
right?
Greeting cards, only available at your local adult bookshop.
There was a card, but it's a Hallmark card. And the front, this is from my dad, because my sister and I were.
This was in the letters from Shelley pile?
No, this is in her box of letters from him. Now, we were noting that
Did he draw a picture of a vagina?
Well, hang on. But hang on. Hers were a little racy, and I'll get to that. But his weren't.
Interesting.
Except in the most like Vegas terms.
I think your mom had more of a libido than your dad.
We're surmising this.
Yeah.
So anyway, though, there's a card, and it's one of those long, skinny ones, that were so popular way back then. Mm-hmm. And it's got like a flower on it's Georgia O'Keeffe style. Okay. It's got a flower, and it's got the like.
With Georgia O'Keeffe style in that it's a self-portrait?
She didn't do self-portraits.
Oh, yes, she did.
She did vaginal flowers, I thought.
Yeah.
That was her vagina flower?
That's what people say.
Oh. Well, anyway, the inside is like black, and it's got, a pistil and a stamen and a clitoris and a...
Oh, okay.
Not really. But it's like It's like a full frontal of a fucking flower.
Sure.
And then it's like, what my favorite part of you is? And then you open it up and it's like, that's right. Or something like that. Or like, yes, you knew. Do you know what my favorite thing about you is? And then you open it up and it's like, yes, you knew. This is what the card says, though. But it's Hallmark. Did Hallmark make racy cards? This is the
Wait, that was printed?
Yes, that is the card.
Oh, it wasn't. She didn't write that.
No, this is a card from my dad to my mom.
Oh.
It's got a picture of a vagina flower on the front, and you're right up in the center of the flower.
It's like Looney Tunes when they're hungry and the person turns into a turkey, a big turkey.
Well, not exactly.
Your mom, all your dad saw was a giant vagina.
I mean, if I'm understanding the card correctly, that's disgusting anyway, to suggest that like your favorite part about someone is the inside of their vagina.
But that's where you came from, honey. That was your
entrance.
That was how you came into the world.
Yeah.
And that's why he liked it.
I'm sure that's what he meant. This was before that. Is there any other interpretation of that card?
He liked boning your mom.
Stop it. Is there not? I don't mean that he gave it to her. I mean the people who made that card. Is there any other interpretation?
No, and I bet he got it at because they used to have like places where you could get adult cards.
From Hallmark, though?
It was Hallmark?
Yes, literally Hallmark.
Okay, well, maybe, I don't know. Someone who's an expert in Hallmark should let us know. I do remember
Jeff Drake.
Oh, Jeff Drake would know. Yeah, because I know that I used to see...
Racy Hallmark. Look, what does it look like I drew, by the way? Such a hairy beeve.
A plate full of meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah, listen, I spent a lot of time at the mall growing up.
Right.
Typical 80s kid. And maybe 30% of that time at the back of the Spencer's.
You were allowed back there?
Allowed? Who would have stopped us?
The person who works at Spencer's who doesn't allow.
Other kids are, 2 years older than us.
Right. Did it have a beaded curtain?
No. You just be like looking at Pac-Man keychains, and the next thing you know, it's
sexy dice,
edible underwear,
right,
and adult cards, and stuff. So yeah. By the way, I have been an adult I've been an adult for most of my life, and have never once been involved in any adult activity, party or otherwise, that involved a single thing that would have been bought at a fucking Spencer. Like, what was going on? What were these adult parties? My mind would just go like, what is happening? Are adults getting together and having these sexy parties? Like, I couldn't, it made no sense to me as a child and barely makes any sense to me now.
Well,
like, has anybody worn edible panties and then had their, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't it like a fruit roll up? Like, wasn't it a giant fruit? I think it was like a giant fruit roll up.
It sounds like a disaster.
It sounds horrible. And like, and then you're the guy and you have to like, what? I have to eat that nasty like fruit roll up / like whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So anyway, she had cravings. She didn't know this side of herself. Yeah.
He awakened.
She, in 2 different separate letters, she mentioned her cravings.
Do you think that he was her first?
I don't know. She wouldn't ever tell me. She would get really weird. I mean, not that it's
You asked her.
Yes. Not that it's my business. When I was a kid. I mean, sorry, not kid, but young. When I was like, when I learned what sex was, I wanted to. Yeah, I did ask her. And I would ask her what age she lost her virginity at, and she would never tell me.
But would she have answered you if you'd asked her last year?
I don't know. And I didn't. I actually, when I went out with her for her birthday, which was the last time she and I hung out, just the two of us, she was telling me lots of stuff.
God damn it. If she'd have just hung on a little longer, she probably would have told you even more stuff.
Yeah, but it's not necessary that I know this stuff. But she was telling me about a night at school that my best friends, my best friend's parents were divorced, and he showed up at the like back to school night drunk, and the
You
mom
may have told me this story.
maybe like had to sort of take, like he was kind of embarrassing them and had to like cart him out. And I never knew. I was asking about him because I remember, spending time with him. Not a lot though.
The dad?
Yeah. I think the mom had, I don't know how often he got her, like maybe on weekends or every other weekend or something like that.
So when you play with your friend, you'd see
every
her
now
dad.
and again.
It wasn't like you were going out for the day with her dad, just you.
No,
It was just like,
no. But every now and again, we would hang out with him, or we'd go out to do a meal with him when I was with her.
Gotcha.
So this is my friend who died in a skydiving accident.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just felt like she was sharing stuff with me more, like as an adult, and it popped into my head to ask her this, and then I thought, I don't need to know. And also,
You're not curious?
I am curious, but I always wondered. I don't know. Was it something she was embarrassed about, or was it traumatic?
Although I get it. I don't want to know that about my mom.
Right.
I'm just thinking
I thought your mom would tell you.
Oh, she would 100% tell me, and
I'm
I don't want to know.
She hasn't already.
I don't want to know. But I am curious about Shelley.
Yeah. Well, look.
But we'll never know.
The letters were written. You should read Elvis and Me sometime. Because there's a real Priscilla Elvis vibe. Like the letters were written from the point of view of a young woman who has just been awakened. And I don't know if that was real or if that was a pose she was taking.
You have the same feeling about her letters to her mom.
Where she talks about an awakening?
No, not content-wise, but in terms of like, oh,
who is this person?
Is this genuine?
Yes.
Is this how she really was, or was she putting on?
Yes.
Is this like a fake persona?
Well, the letters have yes. The letters seem yes, exactly.
Because in both cases, maybe this was not the mom you ever knew.
Well, thank God I didn't know the one.
Well,
that
obviously
had
not the sex stuff, but I'm just saying
exactly.
in terms
the
of
letters to her mother are like, who is this person? Have I shared what those are like on here? They're like. It's like they had an ass kissing competition and she was going to win. They're just long, flowery letters about how she can't wait to profit from their wise advice. And it's just like, so.
This is what I want Elliot to say to me.
Yeah, just really.
You should read those to Elliot and say, this is what we need from you.
Yeah. So that, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know who the real her was. So either she was adopting the persona or the voice of someone who has recently been awakened with these cravings, or that was true. I don't know, but I'm sure it was a heady concoction for my dad to have this like young girl who is craving. Ew, him.
Did you ever walk in on them doing it?
No. One more thing. So she mentions her cravings, and then in parentheses, in case you can't tell, I'm horny as hell for you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I don't think so. I find it repugnant.
I think that is so. Whenever I hear these stories, I'm like so happy for them. Like your mom,
I guess.
Listen, I only knew her in the last 13 years. How long have I?
14.
And in that time, your dad has always been ailing.
Yeah.
Old.
The first time you met my parents was in the hospital.
Literally after he'd had it like
you
a
drove
heart.
me down because he was in AFib,
Yeah.
and we met them at the hospital.
And, your mom was dealing with her cancer. So, like, both of them were ailing and just, like, not in great shape. The entire time I knew them.
Yeah.
And also seemed to have a real dispassionate sort of, like, bond.
With my dad?
/ can't stand you. Like, they had a bond. But like she would get so
she would yell at him. She was always, everything he asked or did was the drinking straw that broke the camel's back. Everything was on her last nerve.
So
she was so irritated.
To know that there was a time
Yeah.
when they were really in love and passionate for each other is nice, because that just means that at least in her life and in his life, but I'm thinking about her, like she was able to have that.
Yes.
And I'm happy for her, because she married when she was like in her early 20s, for God's sake.
She got married at 24 or 25. No, she had me at 20. She got married she was 23 or 24 when she got married.
Yeah.
crazy. And then had me at 25 or 26. Yeah, I know. If I step back, it's sweet.
I mean, I get
it.
It's your mom and dad. I understand that.
It is sweet. It's also sweet that they kept these letters. Now they also kept everything, but they had them in a folder, you know. It is sweet. If it wasn't my parents, it would be sweeter.
Also, you know what else? For me, it's like I never saw them show any affection towards each other. There was never a single moment of like a nice touch or a kiss or anything. Anything. And so to know that, it's like to know that there was at least some...
There was a courtship.
Yeah, that had been there is nice because there was no evidence of it.
Right. I know. Yeah. I wonder how long it was there after they got married. That's the thing that makes me sad. And no wonder she resented her kids so much. If she, assuming she certainly resented the hell out of me.
Look, having kids changes fucking everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, your dad proudly was like, I never changed a single diaper.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like, I'm sure she resented a lot if he was just not helping out with the childcare.
Right.
And she was having to do everything. It's a lot of fucking work. And they didn't talk and they didn't go to counseling. So, yeah, bad recipe for resentment.
Right. I know. But also in her letter, she's like, you know, multiple times talks about how she can't wait to get back. She just keeps thinking about their first night. So she's in Europe and they're writing back and forth. And
she's like, these Italian men are nothing like you.
No, she's like, I think she was in France, but she just keeps thinking about their first night alone together and how they'll have complete privacy because her parents won't be home for another week or something. It's like, ew! Oh my God, I didn't consider the fact that she was still living at home. Grody.
I thought she had her own place.
At some point she did, but I think maybe she moved back home after she graduated or something. I don't know it.
God, it's so weird.
I don't know at what point.
He married someone so young.
I don't know at what
he was
point.
So much older than her.
I know. I don't know at what point this was in their relationship, but he, 35-year-old man, going over to his girlfriend's parents' house and hooking up with the ew.
The thing that blows my mind is like there's this huge age gap.
Yeah, 16 years.
And yet they died like 1 year apart.
I know. It was not supposed to happen that way.
That's wild.
But everyone you mention it to is like,
No, but she didn't die of a fucking broken heart.
No, she didn't die of a broken heart. She died of the flu.
I feel like she was kind of actually starting to get to like, oh, maybe life... You know, like
she was gonna get it. I mean, she was gonna get another puppy. She had been in communication with the woman, the same person she got.
I feel like she had another act ahead of her, so it was tragic.
Did she really though?
Yeah, I actually think she would have.
You think?
I think so. I think there's a side of your mom that had been dormant because she was in such a state of like taking care of your dad and worrying about things. And
yeah, because that when she got that clean scan, she was like, now I can have a happy Christmas. She had the fucking opposite of a happy Christmas. Oh my God. But she's like, once she got that clean scan and her lungs actually looked better than they had looked before, a weight was lifted off her back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. On Childish, we were talking about how all your emotions kind of come from the same faucet.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my faucet is turned off right now. Like I can't really access sadness and I also can't really access joy.
The what I say about what you're going through is like when there's when there's some sort of like emergency, when there's something horrible happening and you're in the middle of it, there's this instinct to go like into a state where you're just dealing. It's like your brain knows how to compartmentalize the horror and the sorrow so that you can navigate the immediate like logistics of getting out of danger. And so you might find yourself like in the middle of it, like, why am I not reacting to this horrible thing that happened? But it's because, you know, we have like this ability. You're in survival mode, and then later it'll hit you. And I think you're still
still though.
Yeah, because it's been so relentless for you. Like it has, like, you know, she died, and then it was like dealing with
the body,
the
what to do
body,
with the
and then
body.
we had the fires and and
right,
then all
right
of that.
away we were planning a funeral and figuring out where.
And then
to
it fucking burned
put the
down,
body,
and the whole fucking thing with the fires and the body, and then and then all of a sudden all this stuff with the estate happened, and now you have to close out this estate, and it's just been relentless, absolutely relentless. And so like there will be a day when I don't know when it's going to be, where I feel like when it's going to all come crashing down on you, I think, and I will be long gone.
Where are you going to go?
Anywhere but here, honey.
Okay.
It is more than I want to deal with.
So you asked me if I ever walked in on them. No. However, my friend who lives up the street told me that he saw them one time because he and his friend were hiking in the hills behind the house.
Oh, and they had that big window they never closed.
Yeah. Well, they started closing it, but
After that.
Yeah. And I was so disgusted. And then he's like, and it was kind of an advanced position.
An advanced position? Well, how old was the friend?
He was probably like 5 or 6 years older than me.
Which was?
He would have been like, when he told me or when he saw it?
When he said it was an advanced position, is this an 8-year-old saying that, or is this a 17-year-old saying that?
No, it's like a 20-year-old or 21-year-old.
Oh, so it probably was an advanced
So
position.
anyway, he told me what it was. It was I didn't think it was that advanced. It was her legs on his shoulders.
That's not that advanced.
So then Greg Fitzsimmons, because this came up on the show, he's like, sorry to tell you this, but that's a pretty common anal position.
Well, it is, but that doesn't mean that that's what they were doing.
Greg feels that it is. He's certain that that is what they were doing.
He did have 2 anal scopes. Your dad.
One was in the garage, though.
I mean, who knows?
Oh, God. I think the anoscopes were just old, like, historical medical equipment. I don't think they were used.
I don't think they were used either.
Ick. Anyway, so yeah, who knows? Who knows what was going on there? I prefer not to think about that. Now, here's an awkward change of topic, but we do have a snack chat here.
Ooh.
Yeah, we do. Oh, also, our son has texted me the crying emoji over and over and over and over and over again. I hope he's...
Which son? Eero.
Owen. Here, take a look at it.
Why is he texting you that?
I don't know. Oh, wait, there's one with steam coming out of it. I don't know. I feel like he would say something if he had something specific to say, though. Sometimes he just sends that to me. Makes me feel good.
Okay.
So I could write back, is everything okay?
Although, maybe ask Elliot.
Yeah, they know where we are. We're 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Anyway, this would be a fantastic time to ask you to please support this podcast via Patreon. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen or Substack. AlisonRosen.substack.com. I send out, I've got to do that. I've got to do my daily text update. I'm going to send out my daily text update to the people at the confidant level. You get breaking fish news. You get breaking estate news. You get to find out how I really feel about everything. Okay. Let's hear the snack chat jingle.
Jelly beans, baby carrots, peanut chocolate, and Doritos, Skittles, chips, and onions.
Snack chat.
Milky Way, Skittles, Reese's, cheese, crackers, butter sandwich, cookie pie, cookies, pudding, fruit,
Snack
candy,
chat.
ice cream, butter popcorn, chicken wings, very tasty is the thing.
Snack chat.
All right. I got to put my microphone back in its holder. Now, Daniel, I'm going to give you a paper towel to use as a plate, and I will do the same for me. Hear that paper towel.
So we got these at the dollar store.
Yeah. These are flavored.
Dollar
Peeps.
Tree, right? Dollar Tree?
Is it? I don't know.
One of them.
But we have 3 flavors of Peeps. We have Dr. Pepper Peeps.
Pepper Peeps.
We have Tropical Punch Peeps.
Punch Peeps.
And we have Rice Krispie Treat Peeps.
All right.
Now, here I really should have a pair of scissors in here. That would make this whole process easier. But alas, I don't. The Tropical Punch is smells like a smell that I've smelled before.
Tropical Punch?
But like a specific something from my childhood, like a specific kind. The Rice Krispie Treat
Smells like
smells
a
like
Slurpee.
batter. And the Oh, Dr. Pepper smells like Dr. Pepper. What do you want to start with?
Whatever.
Let's start with the tropical punch. Now, maybe it smells like Hawaiian punch. Were you a punch kid? Did you like
I
punch?
loved Hawaiian punch.
No.
No, it doesn't smell strong.
In the box it does. Just vaguely citrusy. It's fine though.
Yeah, what does it taste like? It does have like a
Orange to me.
okay.
Like I think if someone didn't tell me what it was and I tasted it, I'd think it's orange, but not orangesicle.
It's not bad.
All right. Let's try the Rice Krispie because I feel like once we go Dr. Pepper, we can't go back. All right.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Now, we know what Rice Krispie treats taste like, so let's see if this tastes like that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes, although
I don't... Go
if
ahead.
you would have asked me to guess what the flavor was, I don't think I would have been able
I
to
would have said cake batter.
guess. Right.
I don't think I love it.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's more marshmallowy than but it's kind of like saying like it's marshmallow flavored marshmallows because that's what Rice Krispie treats are.
Isn't
It's like
there
marshmallow.
Oreo flavored Oreos that aren't regular Oreos?
I don't know.
Oh. Express your peepsonality. Show us how you express your peepsonality and visit us at... All right. Here we go. Dr. Pepper Peeps. It's fun to say.
I haven't really been eating sugar for a while, so this is really hitting
Oh,
me.
yeah. Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's probably the best of the three.
This is the winner. I enjoy this.
Yep.
That was pretty delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've done it. We've ranked the Peeps. And now, let's talk a little bit. You sent me a podcast that Mike White was on. Have
Yeah.
you listened to it?
That was the official one. Yeah.
I listened to it as well. Let's talk about it briefly.
All right. Well, this will
So,
contain spoilers.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have not listened to the finale, watched, thank you, the finale of White Lotus, now would be a time to turn this off.
Mhm.
And while you do that, I'm going to sing a little song. Turn us off if you don't want to hear us talk about White Lotus. Turn us off if you don't want to hear season 4 finale chat. Turn us off. But make sure to be subscribed. Okay. I listened to it. What did you think?
Well, I sent it to you because I thought it was interesting. So obviously I liked it.
I'm trying to remember what was being said in it.
Well, he talked about the inspiration for the season and what he was going for and like what the themes really were and stuff like that. So it was
Remind me what he said.
well that see if I can remember. Well, he talked about how I'm not sure. I feel like there was something specifically that I thought you would have liked, and I don't remember now what that was. But he talked about how his Buddhism influenced the season. How it was really a season about identity, and I thought it was interesting because he had the Ratliff family at the beginning. You know, when we first meet them, it's like I went to Duke and I went to North Carolina, and we hate each other. Da, da, da. And it's so interesting now looking back because it's like, yeah. They did that. He had them do that because that's such a strong way that people define who they are.
Right.
And so you have these people who are so rigidly defined by these certain things. And then who are they when that's taken away? And that's what's interesting. And you go like, oh, okay. If you think of it in those terms for each story, then the whole season really does start to make a lot of sense. And, how it's how each storyline kind of like impacts the character in a different way. You know, you've got like Gay Talk, whose whole thing is like he's this spiritual Buddhist, but he has to do something that's against his self-definition and who he is and who he thinks he is in order to get what he wants. And how, you know, you've got Walter Goggins' character who's always defined himself in this particular way, and when he is presented with this choice at the end, White doesn't talk about this, but this is just obviously what's happening. He has this opportunity to like let go of that, or he's challenged to let go of that. She says like, don't think about the love you didn't get. Think about the love you have. Let it go. Just let it go. But he has so identified himself in this particular way that it's just tragic because he can't.
I thought it was interesting that he seemingly designed a lot of the storylines in the image of things they had done in the other seasons. Like he kept talking about, you meet the Sydney Sweeney family, and they don't want the son in the same room. And it's sort of I think that the son of that family is like the Lachlan of this family. And it seemed like they were kind of all like echoes of storylines that we'd seen in other seasons. Twists on them. I think,
well, the sense I got is it wasn't so much that he was commenting on that as he was like making sure to not retread.
Maybe.
He didn't want to like redo it. So like, what have I done already? What's something I haven't done yet? You know, I haven't done the 3 friends.
Right.
You know, like I haven't done, but yeah, I don't know. And I didn't realize we were going to talk about it. So I just forget what it was. There was something in the podcast where I was like, oh, Alison.
We'll come back and we'll
because
talk about
I felt like
week.
you've been disappointed with the season, and I feel like listening to him talk about it, you could maybe not necessarily make you like the season more, but at least appreciate.
I need to listen to it again
because I feel like the season may have been my favorite.
Oh, really? Well, it really had themes that you like, that resonate with you, and that you put in some of your own work. Specifically,
the themes of like,
white women's friendship.
Wanting to be an Asian girl who gets pounded by,
he got flack for that.
He did?
Yeah, because I saw it online.
I feel like you can't do anything without getting flack for it, though.
But I saw it online. I actually have a point to make about this. It was online, and people were saying that he fell into the something fallacy, which is the idea that trans people are doing it because of XYZ. But
that's not what he was saying.
But that's also not what he was doing, because Sam Rockwell's character was not transgender.
No.
He was a transvestite.
Yes.
It's different.
Yes.
Okay. That's
everybody always sees their pet issue and everything. Like,
right.
On X, which I still tool around with, the algorithm's so strong that if you like one tweet that is about something, now that's all you see for 5 years. And like I'm just getting like all these random takes on the White Lotus from just random people. And so many of them are just like, this is what it was about. And it's like, oh, well, that's your issue. Yeah. So that's all you're seeing. That's clearly not what the season was about. That's not what the show's about. I just block people with bad takes.
Oh, wow.
That's my new thing. I block them. If you have a bad take, blocked. You suck.
It's the Quant's method for social media.
If you have one really shitty take,
get the fuck out of here.
There is very small chance that I'm ever going to like anything you have to say about anything else. So let's just remove you from my vision.
Can I talk about my fish for a minute?
Yeah.
I'm at an interesting crossroads. For the longest time, I have preferred my saltwater tank to my freshwater tank. However, I've made some changes in my freshwater tank. I've added bits of driftwood. I've added more plants. I've added like a strip of river rocks. And I fucking love my freshwater tank. And my saltwater tank now is coming up short as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you haven't put the same care into it.
I had, though. I mean, I for a saltwater tank, I just don't know what that is exactly, I guess. Because plants can't live in there.
Put a bunch of coral in there.
I mean, coral is a living thing, but I could put those like rocks and stuff in there.
Put, SpongeBob's village down there.
I need more decoration.
Or like a scuba diver.
But then I have unfortunately been flying too close to the sun, and I've had my hands in water too much. And I've actually been like, holy shit, it's okay. I've been able to do this. However, now look at my finger.
I mean, what happens when you just take showers or like, it's just water.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, I do take showers and I'm fine as long as I use only I only come in contact with certain products.
But you're,
it's like why I don't.
What products are you coming into contact with in your tanks? It's just water or salt water.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like you're putting chemicals on your hands when you do it. It's weird.
It's something about being in the water for an extended time, though.
So you can't like swim.
But I do. I can. And this usually happens to my hands if I go on vacation.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. Listen, it's time for us to go back in.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening.
Yeah, me too. Hey, is there anything that we meant to talk about that we didn't talk about real quick?
At some point we need to address shopping for children at Kids Foot Locker, shopping for kids' shoes, but I don't think today's that day.
We didn't go shopping for children there. It's not like Wayfair where you can buy a child
in a cabinet. Yeah, no.
At Children's Foot Locker.
Well, I have something to say. I was so excited about, moments ago, I was like the biggest cheerleader for these Dr. Pepper Peeps.
You're feeling the worm is turned?
Is not great, and I don't feel great about it.
It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah. I feel a little bit like, ugh.
I mean, Peeps. Well, first of all, Peeps are better if they're stale. Everybody knows.
These are old though at this point, but
they're
still
not stale.
fresh.
They're not stale.
Yeah.
And number two, they're also marshmallows are not. I mean, I can't get excited about marshmallows.
That's you.
Yeah.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
I can feel how I want about marshmallows.
No, you can't.
Not anymore.
You're married to me. You need to reflect my opinions.
Okay. So, listen, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show?